So many of you may know us as Mark Taylor Development and Mark Taylor Management, but in 2021, we launched Mark Taylor Residential Consulting. And the reason for that is we've had a lot of inquiries over the last, I'll say, few years specifically on what the multifamily real estate, I'll just say, spectrum looks like from a operational perspective. And when I think about Mark Taylor, we've really always been a data company by design. We've been collecting great data in Phoenix for almost 40 years and now Las Vegas. And we thought there would be an opportunity to leverage the experiences, the knowledge, and our expertise along with our data to provide a subscription-based model. And if you see our link below, please click on that. If you're curious, we'll provide you some templates of how we, I'll say, understand the market and how we utilize all of that data to really just proactively manage within this market. And I'm confident many of our current ownership groups have really drawn alike to that actual subscription model. And I'd love for you to learn more. So click on that link below.
Welcome back to another great episode of Multifamily Forward presented by Mark Taylor. I am Adam Greco, and as always, our president and friend, Mr. John Carlson.
I'll take that.
You take
that? Good morning, yes.
Good to see you again.
Thanks for having me.
Today, thanks for having me. Good, nice. Today, we're going to be discussing everything Arizona Multihousing, the Arizona Multihousing Association, also known as the AMA, and we have a great speaker, a guest speaker, sitting with us today.
We do.
Mrs. Courtney LeVinus, President and CEO of the AMA. John, let's talk about the AMA.
Let's do it. So AMA, Arizona Multihousing Association, I believe we were talking about this pre-taping.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are the largest, our fourth largest affiliate in the country at about 380,000 units, believe it or not. So significant penetration from a unit count perspective. And really, if you think about what does the AMA represent for multifamily and the apartment industry, it's really about advocacy, representation, and having education available for all of our real estate partners and affiliates. So when I think about, what that means, really, I think one voice. And we used to talk a lot about that during our strategic planning sessions. And it's allowing all of those organizations, all of those employees to get together and really create one voice. And advocating for our industry is so important these days. So I know we're going to get into some legislative topics, which are critically important. And along with capital consulting, I really think, protecting our industry so that we can create great housing for folks matters. So we're going to get into some details.
And let's define. So the AMA, you said it, fourth largest
affiliate in the country.
Part of
the National Apartment Association.
NAA,
yes.
NAA, yes.
Exactly.
We love our acronyms in the multifamily industry, don't we?
Absolutely.
Yes,
yeah, you have to protect yourself, right? So from a state perspective and then nationally, again, funneling that up to have one voice.
Right. You mentioned, of course, having one voice. I can bring myself back. I've been a member of the AMA as an industry partner going back to 1999. In fact, I started as a leasing agent in 99 when I first moved here from Chicago. I attended my first AMA event right at the end of 99, beginning of 2000, and was instantly hooked. It was definitely a family. They've been my closest friends ever since, growing in the industry. So starting as a regular member, going to an industry partner, and then just the circle came back again, coming right back to being a regular member.
Well, that triggers something for me positively in terms of just think about the vendor partnerships with regular members.
Yes.
The ability to just really create a dynamic relationship with all of those vendors that truly support the AMA and allowing, I'll say, regular members as us, as owner managers, to really connect with them and forge that relationship.
Again, one voice, right? Courtney, when we bring her on, she has a long history in our industry, not only on the, you mentioned capital consulting, but of course now as the president and CEO of the AMA, she has to manage, and I say this jokingly, but it's serious at the same time, 50 different board members, all with type A personalities. Is that fair to say?
She's got a handful.
Especially with the two
Times
of us.
10.
Yeah, especially with the two of us. I'm looking forward to bringing Courtney on. So why don't we get her going?
Let's get to it.
Mrs. Courtney LeVinus, how are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are y'all doing?
We're so thrilled to have you, by the way. Thank you so much
Good to
for
be here.
taking the time out to be with us, if I can speak properly.
Absolutely. It's early.
And
Well, it's not early. But
it's not.
Anyway,
well, it's early enough after. Well,
you should be able to speak by now, but
yes,
whatever.
we'll be okay.
Uh-huh.
That's why I have coffee in front of me.
We'll work through it.
You are the first woman. You were representing the women
About
of the
time.
industry right now in our little podcast. So
because there's a lot of us in this industry.
there's going to be a
about
lot
time.
of judging going on. I have a feeling. Are you up for it?
I'm up for it.
Okay. So we normally will pepper you with a handful of questions just to get our audience to know you a little bit more. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So everyone wants to know, are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning person. Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, it's bad when my Aura ring tells me that I haven't even finished the work day and it's time to start getting ready for bed. So that says something. Early to bed,
That's
early
right.
to rise.
That's right.
Yes, it's nonstop, isn't it? Yes.
Plus, I have a puppy at home, and she's early bird too.
What breed?
Charlotte, and her she is an Aussie Doodle and a Golden Doodle combination. She's got a lot of energy, and she's super cute.
She's quite lovely. I got to spend some time with her at the
She
office.
comes to the office.
No kidding.
Yeah, she comes to the AMA
Oh,
office.
I haven't been able to meet her then. Well,
Next time you're there,
it's going to happen at some
meet
point.
Charlotte.
Good. What's something new that you've learned this past year that you're proud or excited about?
Yeah. So I've started playing pickleball. I grew up playing tennis in Arizona, so I always thought pickleball's for people that can't play tennis, but I've picked it up and it's kind of fun.
And it's growing.
I haven't played it recently because it's too darn hot here, but no, it's a lot of fun. It's growing like crazy.
I saw a new restaurant/venue open up in the West Valley that is surrounded by
chicken and pickle or something like that. Yeah,
indoor
cool.
courts and outdoor courts. So it's growing. Have you played yet?
I have not played yet.
Okay.
I'm waiting for our wonderful director of accounting to give me some lessons. So she's going to take care of that in the fall.
Leave it to you to want to take lessons before getting out on the court.
I'd like to play it the right way since I've never played.
Yes. All right. Perfect. Courtney, what is one thing about you that people wouldn't expect? John and I both have answers,
so, I mean,
by
you
the
guys
way.
have known me forever. You'd probably expect everything, but I'm going to throw one out there that you guys might not know. I like to hunt and fish. I grew up hunting and fishing in
I did
Arizona.
not know that.
I'm the youngest of 3 girls, so my dad never, he'd never had that boy that he wanted. And so we kind of grew up in that role. We were all 3 tomboys, and we would hunt and fish throughout Arizona. And I don't get to do it as much now, but
You're a little busy.
It's a lot of fun.
You're a little busy. Any favorite lake?
My dad and I used to go up to Alamo Lake.
Okay.
A lot.
I haven't been there
but
yet.
we would do trips to Lake Powell.
Yeah.
Back when there was water in Lake Powell.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, good. John and Courtney, let's talk about the current state of the multifamily industry here in our lovely state of Arizona. All of us should probably know that we have a good amount of supply coming. We've been delivering units over the past 2 years. That will continue over the next couple of years. What are you seeing as far as the growth and the outlook for our industry?
Do you want me to jump into that first?
Please, that'd be great.
So, I mean, we're going to continue to grow in Arizona. We have almost 100,000 people moving here every year, and we need to continue to build to provide housing. And it has to be at all price points. We can't just, we have to build single family, multifamily, for low income all the way up to luxury. So the demand is not going to slow down. We're 270,000 units short in Arizona, according to the Department of Housing. And though we've been building incredibly strong over the last many years, we're still not keeping up with the demand. and we need to continue at these levels. I think one of our biggest challenges, and I'm sure John will go into some of this, is that we're running out of land that's zoned for multifamily. So
Sure.
pretty much everything that is zoned for multifamily is at some point in the construction or in the construction pipeline. And once we have built all of those, like, development's it's gonna slow down because the process is just so much longer. The entitlement process and getting, jumping through all of those hoops and getting projects approved at the local levels takes immensely longer. So,
And we'll talk more about
Mhm.
that, just the process of
Yep.
rezoning and the cost associated with it, of course, too, with city officials, city approvals,
Yeah.
et cetera, and right? John, Courtney sharing what she shared already, what do you see as the economic outlook with the supply that is coming to our state?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of factors. So I'll just touch on the supply first. So if you
Sure.
let's just go back to, we've been in business almost 40 years, but if you go back to just the GFC, the Great Financial Crisis, and really the slow drip of units that were delivered to the marketplace during the first 5 or 6 years during the 2010s was dramatically under what was needed. Calibrate that with the single-family deliveries being light. We really had a decade or so of being undersupplied. So you saw that transition into rent increases that we've talked about until this year, really. And we're seeing that cresting of supply. Like always, when you're cresting in supply, you typically have a reprieve in rental rates. And we've seen that. Rental rates year over year are down. We are actually, along with Las Vegas, two of the top 30 metros in the country for rent
It's
growth.
amazing.
So, that supply demand certainly affects rental rates. Fast forward long term, as Courtney alluded to, I think the concern is beyond really 25 and 26 is with the limited amount of land available that's zoned or approved for multifamily, the difficult time it takes in terms of cost and length of time and effort to get something rezoned, if at all, is really going to be challenging for supply in the last part of the decade and into 2030. So I think concerns around housing long-term fit into that description, and we'll see if we can build our way out of it. But, temporarily we have some certain renter relief in terms of rental rates. And, I think that's probably changed the perception of the landlord is bad, which, people would argue, but it's really economically about supply and demand.
Right. Good. Courtney, what are you seeing as the most significant patterns within our little industry?
Yeah. So there's a couple things. I think it's really interesting the last couple of years to see how we've really grown up. We're building high rises that, we were garden style Arizona building community for a long time. And we're seeing those high rises in downtown Tempe, downtown Phoenix, Scottsdale, and those areas primarily. But then we're also seeing this build to rent market that is just exploding. I mean, it was kind of born here and is certainly expanded here. And those are two significant changes that we're seeing that are changing the market.
True. John, how do you see Mark Taylor innovating and being able to stay nimble to these patterns? What has been changing with our landscape?
Sure. Courtney mentioned high rises and BTR, so certainly an expansion of product type within the Valley. I think BTR, if you look at that specifically, it's here to stay without question. We've leased up the most BTR units in the Valley since 2017. And when I think about that, I just plug it in as, it's BTR, it's garden style, mid-rise, high-rise. And, longer term, when we think about Mark Taylor, we really want to focus on Class A. So we encompass all four of those product types purposely.
Absolutely.
And I think the last piece of that is from an innovation perspective, the word of the day or in the moment is centralization. So how will organizations, both ownership and management, capture the opportunity in that space as we become more technology forward driven? And certainly post-pandemic, we've seen a shift from a consumer perspective. They've gone to self-service, and it's clear
that's what they want.
It's clear that's what they want. We've surveyed our residents a great deal, and it's clear they want things, instantly, right? They want that information now, and it doesn't mean they have to speak with someone. So, modifying our traditional, I'll say, multifamily playbook, which has been around for decades, and ensuring that we're taking advantage of that technology and supporting that centralization path, which we're doing with ION, of course.
Absolutely. You both have already spoken to just some of the legislative roadblocks that developers have to go through, and it's not just the Class A space. It's everything affordable housing, single family, et cetera, et cetera. Over the past year, what have been some of the most impactful legislative initiatives?
So this last legislative session was a crazy one for a number of reasons. It was the longest legislative session we've ever had. It's the most bills that we've ever had vetoed in a legislative session. But for multifamily specifically, there was a lot. We were primarily focused on supply and demand. I mean, we just talked about that. Over the last probably 3 to 4 years, AMA has been, I would say, hyper-focused on advocating for more housing. The only way we're going to get out of this affordable housing crisis that we have in Arizona and not go to the level of the affordable housing crisis that we're seeing in California and, Seattle and some of the other areas is we have to build more housing.
Yeah.
So at the legislature, we introduced some pretty controversial legislation to force the cities or preempt the cities to modernize their zoning codes to allow for more multifamily, to reduce parking requirements, to allow for, ADUs or backyard casitas. And we were met with significant opposition at every turn. So that was primarily our biggest issue this last session. The legislative session before that, we saw 25 what we would call bad apartment industry bills, and these are bills that want to amend the eviction process or bills that want to mandate that owners allow residents that are on Section 8, so source of income anti-discrimination, that want to, probably the most egregious and one that lights our hair on fire is rent control and rent caps. So 25 bad bills. Fortunately, we defeated all of those bills this session. I fully anticipate they're coming back again, and again and again until they really get some legs and could ultimately pass in Arizona. You guys kind of aged me at the beginning, and you said I've been doing this for a long time, but I have been doing this for a long time. And when I first got into this business, I would have thought there is no way Arizona will ever go down the path of rent control, but we are 2 votes almost shy of that right now in the legislature. And I think if our majorities change, we will see that kind of legislation moving here.
Courtney, so mentioning, of course, just the legislative impact and how important the AMA is in fighting and having a voice for all of our members, especially for the entire industry. Let's talk a little bit more about rent control, source of income, Section 8, the vouchers, and how big of a struggle that has been just for owners, operators, and managers thus far.
Yeah. Rent control it's bad on so many levels. It's not just bad for the owner and the operator, it's bad for our residents. So it imposes, either a rent cap or says, once somebody moves in there, you can't increase the rent at all. Or in some cases, we've seen you can increase as much as 3% or 8%. But what ultimately happens is, our profit margins are already pretty tight.
They're slim.
They're very slim. And so when we don't have the funds and the revenue coming in to maintain these apartment communities, the residents suffer. They want to live in quality housing. Just take a look at what's happened in New York that's been under rent control. It's substandard housing. It's not quality housing. That their plumbing issues, the windows are broken and they don't get fixed. And, residents don't, at the end of the day, while they might be saving some money on rent, they don't want to live in that type of an environment. And then the other thing I think that a lot of people don't realize is that it virtually stops the development process. Developers are going to take their dollars to another state or local jurisdiction that doesn't have rent control because they're not going to put their investment at that kind of risk. And then finally, one thing I think a lot of people don't understand is that it reduces the property values. So that is funds that are going to build your city parks and help with education. So it impacts the surrounding area when you reduce those property values and you're not taking in the funds that are needed to run government operations and schools.
John, love for you to chime in on that as well, because I know just in our dealings on the board, of course, going to our nation's capital and advocating for everything that just protects our residents and, of course, ourselves as far as managers, operators, developers. What do you see?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, we're thinking about creating, as always, quality housing, right? So if you think about a resident that is looking to rent a unit, they want quality and they want something affordable. And that could be luxury to affordable living. But when you're creating a rent control dynamic, you're offsetting what is free capitalism. And unfortunately, there's no caps on insurance. There's no caps on wage inflation. There's no caps on property taxes, typically, with the exception of LPB here. But that doesn't feed into rates. So I just think there's a lot of lack of education around that. And if you look historically, there's been many of a study done from an economic perspective on what rent control does. And it typically causes harm to the renters more than anything. And you can think about another scenario in New York. You have folks that have moved into an apartment that's under rent control. 20 years later, they're still there, but they're making a lot more money than they used to, but they're grandfathered in.
Right.
And they could actually move into something else, but they're staying there because of that low rate. So I just think lack of investment, lack of development, and we talked about it, you think about supply and demand, you come back to that issue. If you're not incentivized as a developer, who's taking all of the risk, by the way,
right.
You're not going to develop in those specific submarkets or municipalities, and you're going to go elsewhere. And that creates a shortage, which does what? It creates more inflation in terms of rent. So rent
takes
control
away jobs too.
I mean, it's remarkable that it's still talked about, knowing historically how bad it is and how it's not performed.
John and I, were privileged enough to be involved thoroughly over the past several years with this topic and several others. Most probably don't realize how big of an impact the AMA has, not just on the education side for all of our members, industry partners and regular members, but on the legislative side. So would you mind sharing just a little bit of what the AMA provides?
Yeah, so
and
I
the
mean,
voice?
interestingly enough, AMA, we were formed in the 60s to get rid of sales tax on rent.
Yeah.
And at that time, the state charged sales tax on rent. The AMA was formed and we defeated sales tax on rent at the state level, not realizing at that time that cities would come along behind and pick up that tax and start charging it.
Yeah.
I didn't mention, I mean, we did get rid of sales tax on rent in the cities this legislative session, so that was another big one. But I mean, we were founded and primarily our focus is advocacy, creating a good environment in which to build and operate in Arizona. And that has been, the primary role of the organization from day one. We kind of are on what I like to call a three-legged stool. It's advocacy, it's education, and, and networking, bringing people together in the industry to make the industry stronger. And those are really the primary things that we do. I mean, you all as board members know that that's what we talk about in every meeting. That's what we're pushing is, really educating the industry, constantly increasing the professionalism and the educational opportunities, and trying to make as good of a regulatory environment as we can.
Courtney, you mentioned the three-legged stool, the three pillars of the AMA. One of them, of course, being education.
Yes.
I'm not going to steal your thunder because this is very exciting. All of us as board members, last year, we really dove in because our numbers as far as attendees for all the education classes, and there are a ton of them that are available to all of our members. You want to share what we passed last year?
We did. Our board made a decision. We increased our dues slightly, but doing so, we're providing free education for, anybody who is an AMA member. So it's, everybody from maintenance and housekeeping to the leasing professionals and regional managers. So it's been, we learned a lot during COVID. We temporarily shifted during COVID and provided a lot of our education via Zoom. we did it quickly. It may not have looked so pretty.
Right.
But coming out of COVID, we thought we would go back to like a traditional educational model. And we quickly discovered that people don't want to come to the AMA office and have that traditional class. So pretty much all of our education is available via Zoom. It's online. We've brought in a workforce development manager, and she's laser focused on education.
100%.
And she's bringing in some great education, very timely classes of things that are happening right now in the market. Like our source of income education. And, she's implemented a new once a quarter, we're going to do a market update with CoStar or Yardi, or who, one of our amazing industry partner members that are experts in that area, to really, really try to provide more timely educational opportunities. And the number of attendees in the classes has shocked us.
I was just going to say that, because ever since we've
shocked us
we've
in a
passed
good way.
It, yes, shocked. I was just going to say, I'm sure you probably have the percentage of increase, but just since we've passed that as a board, what have we seen as far as our numbers of attendees throughout every? I still can't believe Latte with a Lawyer is as big, and we had our good friend Mark Zinman from Zona Law on with us. Those numbers have just skyrocketed as well.
Yeah, Mark must be a draw or something. He did a source of income class because Tucson and Phoenix recently passed mandatory source of income. You can't say, no, we don't take Section 8. And I think his class had 170 something participants in it.
Who would have thought an attorney would be so popular?
Exactly.
I love it. Well, this has been fantastic. John, is there anything else you'd like to add in
I
regards?
just think from the education perspective, if you think about someone that's, maybe just starting out in the multifamily industry, the opportunity to access all of that great education to really, I'll say, hone your craft. I think it does two things. It makes for a better, I'll say, renter-occupied unit experience. All I mean by that is if someone's learning a plumbing trade or an electrical trade, they're making sure that resident's taken care of. And we just want to create exceptional housing for our renters.
Absolutely.
And it also creates a career path, right? So as these young individuals start to get, I'll say, attracted to our industry and then get into it, they get educated in their various levels or roles. I just think it creates a longer term trajectory for their career. And that's really what we want. We want to make sure that we're housing for tomorrow and really elevating those younger folks. And of course, guys that are a little longer in the tooth can still get educated too, but I think it's about creating that attractive stickiness and career path mechanisms for those folks. And I'm just excited to have education, for free. I mean, that's
nice. No.
What a fantastic opportunity.
Sorry to coin or repeat or coin this phrase, but amazing. Isn't that what we say all the time?
Yeah,
AMA, amazing. I alluded to this previously when we started, just how my career path started with the AMA. I was getting my real estate license, and I got drawn to a leasing class of all things. And instead of actually going down the path of single family homes, I chose multifamily, and it's just, I couldn't imagine me going in a different path altogether. So really appreciate
a lot of people in
done.
The industry
so true.
don't necessarily pick this as their career. Like, I'm going into residential property management,
right? But
it is such an incredible industry and so many opportunities for advancement. Because we are growing so quickly that we need to keep finding people to come into the industry, though.
Find
we've
those
got jobs
young leaders.
available.
Yes. Well, we have we've been keeping with a tradition to close out each one of our episodes, talking about what we are thankful for, what we're grateful for. So I'm going to hit you up,
all right,
with the question: what are you most grateful for?
I love this question. I'm most grateful, for my family. I've got a great family, but extended family, and my husband, and I'm grateful that I get to be mom to Charlie, who is 17, and I've only got him like 2 more years at home, and it just makes me almost cry every time that he's going to leave me and go away to college. But I would say that is what I'm most grateful, to be Charlie's mom.
That's great. John, I'm going to hit you with the same question, of course.
Well, I get the opportunity to say this each and every time during our episodes. So
yeah,
I think of course, family, friends, our MT family, but I want to be focused on Courtney today. I think that, Courtney's been a tremendous advocate for the industry, and I think if you look at her track record, she's done probably more for our industry than most, and I think it's just lucky for us to have such an exceptional human being supporting the industry through both the AMA and capital consulting, and I know we're better today because of her.
100%. Couldn't agree more. And Courtney, for
Thank
me,
you.
One of the big things is just going back into my younger years, the guidance that you provided, the entire staff at the AMA for that matter.
They're amazing.
I mean,
I'm grateful for them too.
They are fantastic. The hurdles that we've had to jump over and continue pushing forward, the relationships forged, and they will continue down that path. I'm just so grateful to be a part of such a great association, a great family. And let's keep fighting the good fight.
A little love fest right here. Thank you all for being AMA board members.
Absolutely.
And volunteering, providing leadership.
I was trying to think back to my first board year. I was probably scared, not wanting to speak amongst the I'll say higher profile folks at the time. I think it was 2009 or 10, maybe 2010.
Yeah.
I thought it was earlier.
Maybe it was 2008. I don't know. It seems like a long time ago.
It was it's been a while.
Might be 2008.
That's amazing. Courtney, again, thank you so much for your leadership, for your friendship, just for coming on and joining, spending some time with us. You'll have to deal with us for many years to come, unfortunately.
I know. You're going to be our chair of the board here soon.
Don't scare me.
What year is your chair?
2025.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Nice.
Be a good year.
Nice round number, right? Or odd number. Yeah.
Odd number.
Odd number.
I'm loving it. I'm looking forward to it.
I am too.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us again for another great episode of Multifamily Forward presented by Mark Taylor. We'll see you next time.